Good morning, students. Welcome to online platform of Shri Academy. In the previous video, we were studying the fourth chapter, A Truly Beautiful Mind. Let's continue with the chapter. Okay, now seventh paragraph. Let's start with the seventh paragraph. He also felt a special interest in a fellow student, Meliva Marek, whom he found to be a clever creature. This young Serb had come to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degree. Einstein saw in her an ally against the Philistines, those people in his family and at the university with whom he was constantly at odds. The couple fell in love. Letters survive in which they put their affection into words, mixing science with tenderness, wrote Einstein. How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion. Now, in this paragraph, love life of Miss Albert Einstein is discussed. Albert Einstein, while continuing his studies in Zurich, Malvia Marek, named girl, also come to the university because Zurich University was one of the few university in which girls were also allowed to continue their studies and get the degrees. So Meliva Marek came there to get her degree, and she was interested in talking to Albert Einstein. She was also a very intelligent person. Here creature is used, the word creature is used for person. So she was also very intelligent, and she had interest in Albert Einstein. Both uh, talking each other and spending time with each other, both fell in love, and both of them were the students of science. So their love letters were also mixed with the science words. They mixed their letters with science with very kindness. Einstein wrote letter to Mileva, and it was written in how happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion. मीन्स यहाँ पे अल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन बता रहे हैं मिलेवा को कि हम कितने खुश और प्राउड होना चाहिए हम दोनों को कि हमने अपनी मतलब विक्टोरियस कॉन्क्लूजन यानी कि जीत के तरफ कॉन्क्लूजन मीन्स एंड विक्टोरियस मतलब जीत। तो उनका एंड जो था वो जीत थी, वो जीत रहे थे अपने प्यार की लाइफ में। सो ही मिक्स्ड हिज वर्ड्स, हिज लव विथ साइंस एंड coming to the eighth paragraph. In 1900, at the age of 21, Albert Einstein was a university graduate. At the age of 21, Albert Einstein completed his graduation and still was unemployed. He worked as teaching assistant, gave private lessons, and finally secured a job in 1902 as a technical expert in the patent office in Bern. अब उन्होंने as he was employed, so he started working as teaching assistant and taking private lessons, giving private lessons. He started taking coaching or tuitions. So finally in 1902 he got a job. while he was supposed to be assessing other people. Okay, he got a job where? In patent office in Bonn. While he was supposed to be assessing other people's invention. There he was supposed to assess other people's invention. Einstein was actually developing his own idea in secret. While assessing other people's invention, he was developing his own idea, and that was very secret to him. He is said to have jokingly called his desk drawer at work the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Um, at the workplace, Einstein had a table, and the drawer of that table, Einstein called it Bureau of Theoretical Physics in a joking manner. So, one of the famous paper of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey. If one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy. So, in the famous paper, Einstein got his theory of relativity published. According to that theory, time and distance were not absolute. He said that two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time. Means he tried to prove that with the help of clock, he tried to prove that time is not absolute. So, if they come together after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula which describes the relationship between mass and energy. And with his theory, he described his famous formula, which is E equals to mc square. So, in this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, m stands for mass, and c stands for the speed of light in vacuum, about 3000 km per second. So, when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity. So here, with an example, Einstein tried to prove the relativity of time. He said that when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, if you spend 2 hours with a nice girl, you will find that you will feel the time you just spent 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, and if you are asked to sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. It will seem you like 2 hours. It will feel you like that you have been sitting on the hot stove since 2 hours. So Einstein stated that that's the relativity. So coming to the 10th paragraph. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problem in physics, his private life was unraveling. His private life was unraveling. Albert had wanted to marry Mileva right after finishing his studies, but his mother was against it. She thought Mileva, who was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. She was also bothered by Mileva's intelligence. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the wedding off. So, Albert After completing his studies, Albert Einstein was willing to marry Mileva. Here in the paragraph it is mentioned that while Einstein was solving the most difficult problem in physics, Einstein was going through some invention in physics. At that difficult time, he needed to concentrate over his research work. He was also facing problem in his private life. Means his and unraveling means his private life started falling. Albert wanted to Mileva when he finished his studies, but his mother thought that Mileva is 10 years older than uh, Albert, so she is very old for his son, and she was also bothered about Mileva's intelligence. Albert's mother said that she is book like you, so his mother, his mother was not in favor of Albert Einstein that he he could marry Mileva. So he put the wedding off. So he, he postponed his wedding. The pair finally married in January 1903 and had two sons, but a few years later the marriage faltered. Mileva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. After years of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. So finally, Albert Einstein and Mileva got married in 1903, and they had two sons. But few years later, Mileva, their marriage life flattered. Flatter means become weak. Their married life become very weak. Mileva lost her ambition. And she was an unhappy housewife. After years of fighting, they were not happy in the wedding, so they get divorced in 1919. And in the same year, Einstein married his cousin named Elsa. So we will continue the remaining chapter in the next video. Thank you.